The Battle of Midway, fought between June 4 and June 7, 1942, was one of the most decisive naval battles of World War II. It marked a pivotal turning point in the Pacific theater, shifting the momentum from the Imperial Japanese Navy to the United States Navy. The battle was fought near Midway Atoll, a strategic island in the Central Pacific, and was characterized by intelligence breakthroughs, aircraft carrier engagements, and the skillful tactics of American forces. In this documentary, we will explore the background, the course of the battle, and its profound consequences on the war. The road to Midway. Before the Battle of Midway, Japan had been on an unstoppable rampage across the Pacific, claiming victory after victory. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, had left the United States Pacific Fleet severely crippled, allowing Japan to seize territories in Southeast Asia, the Philippines, and the Western Pacific. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the mastermind behind Pearl Harbor, sought to eliminate the United States carrier fleet by luring them into battle near Midway. However, American codebreakers, led by Commander Joseph Rochefort and his team at Station Hypo, managed to decipher Japanese naval codes, revealing the exact timing and location of the attack. This intelligence advantage allowed Admiral Chester Nimitz, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, to prepare a counteroffensive that would alter the course of the war. The Japanese plan. The Japanese plan, known as Operation MI, was complex. It involved a diversionary attack on the Aleutian Islands to mislead the Americans, while the main fleet, including 4 aircraft carriers Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, advanced toward Midway. Admiral Nagumo, commander of the Japanese carrier strike force, intended to strike Midway's defenses before dealing with the American fleet. However, the plan relied on the assumption that the Americans were unaware of their intentions. The American preparation. With intelligence on their side, the Americans set an ambush. The United States Carrier Task Force, led by Rear Admiral Frank Jack Fletcher and Rear Admiral Raymond Spruance, positioned the carriers USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and USS Yorktown near Midway. Midway's air defenses were also reinforced with bombers, fighters, and reconnaissance aircraft. As June 4th dawned, American forces were ready for the confrontation. The battle begins. At dawn on June 4th, Japanese aircraft launched their first wave of attacks on Midway, inflicting heavy damage but failing to neutralize the island's airfields. Meanwhile, American reconnaissance aircraft spotted the Japanese fleet, prompting an immediate response. The first American airstrikes, launched from Midway, proved ineffective, with many aircraft shot down by Japanese defenses. However, the real counterattack came from the United States carriers. Torpedo bombers from Enterprise, Hornet, and Yorktown made daring, but ultimately costly attacks on the Japanese fleet, suffering devastating losses due to outdated tactics and lack of fighter cover. Yet, their sacrifice distracted the Japanese Combat Air Patrol, setting the stage for a decisive blow. The turning point, around 10:20 a.m., American dive bombers from Enterprise and Yorktown, led by Lieutenant Commander Wade McCluskey and Max Leslie, arrived over the Japanese fleet at the perfect moment. Nagumo's carriers were caught refueling and rearming their aircraft, making them highly vulnerable. Within minutes, American Dauntless dive bombers inflicted catastrophic damage. Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu were hit by multiple bombs, engulfing them in flames and rendering them inoperable. The destruction of 3 carriers in such a short span was unprecedented and marked the turning point of the battle. The last stand of the Japanese fleet. Despite the devastating losses, the Japanese did not surrender. The remaining carrier, Hiryu, launched a counterstrike, successfully damaging Yorktown, which was later finished off by a Japanese submarine. However, the Americans quickly located Hiryu and launched another wave of dive bombers, setting the carrier ablaze. By the evening of June 4th, all 4 Japanese carriers had been destroyed. The remnants of the Japanese fleet retreated, marking the end of Japan's offensive momentum in the Pacific. Aftermath and consequences. The Battle of Midway was a staggering victory for the United States. Japan lost 4 fleet carriers, over 300 aircraft, and many of its most experienced pilots. In contrast, the United States lost the carrier Yorktown and about 150 aircraft. While the battle did not end the war, it permanently shifted the balance of naval power in the Pacific. Admiral Yamamoto's hopes of eliminating the American carrier fleet had backfired, forcing Japan into a defensive stance for the remainder of the war. Midway set the stage for subsequent United States offensives, including the Guadalcanal campaign and the island hopping strategy that would eventually bring the war to Japan's doorstep. Conclusion. The Battle of Midway remains one of the greatest naval victories in history, demonstrating the importance of intelligence, strategic planning, and decisive action. It was a battle where courage and sacrifice turned the tide of war, proving that even in the darkest moments, a single victory can change the course of history. Thank you for watching this in-depth documentary on the Battle of Midway. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more historical documentaries.